You
No.
better make some of those moderators.
Now we're live. We're live.
Woohoo!
Okay, let me put it.
Hi, everybody. Probably no one's in here just yet.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday.
Yeah.
Having some technical difficulties. Friday.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let me see. Okay, I just killed that. Now let me get this. Let me see if this works. Ted needs to make us some moderators here too.
It let me put the link. I was surprised actually.
I need one of you guys to link me to the stream on private chat so I can take a look at it too.
To which the one that we're on?
Yeah, the one that we're on.
All right, let me see.
Just throw it in private chat.
This one. All right.
Thank you.
And
Best laid plans of mice and men.
oh, let me get back to this.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Hold on, guys, while I get my bicycle from outside because the storm has come.
Do your thing.
Hey everybody, if anybody's here.
I'm here.
People are here. Max is there, I think. What's going on, George?
Hey, George.
Nothing much.
Just Mike. How was your week? Jerome had a good week. Jerome's been
Jerome,
killing
man.
it.
Yeah, he
I've
is.
been
If
busy.
y'all ever want something to do and to be early in the afternoon, y'all better catch Jerome's channel. Phone Jerome on YouTube. Jerome kills it on there in the daytime.
Thank you, guys.
All the news stories, the news. Jerome's got a membership that you can join where you get emojis and Terminator, Android emojis, Apple emojis, stickers, all kinds of stuff.
Will, what is that thing you stuck in your ear? What's that thing stuck in your ear?
That's an AirPod.
What,
Jerome,
I
you
thought
need to
didn't
get.
like that. You know, I thought
Jerome,
you didn't like that.
It's working right now. Don't jinx it.
Don't
Jerome,
jinx
you need to get an
What?
AirPod sticker. Are you able to make your own emojis? Is that how you do it?
Oh, an AirPod sticker. Yeah, I can make my own emoji.
There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah, you need to make some AirPods. Oh, we gotta get.
I need one more member to earn another emoji to add.
Oh, okay.
So
We
that's
need
how it
somebody else
works.
to join. It's
Yeah,
just
that's how-
99 cents. If y'all go to
90
Phone Jerome's page, click join, and you get access.
Will
to
is
all
my
kinds
salesman
of
right now.
Yeah, wait,
emoji
wait,
stickers.
back up
You
for
get
the-
a
for
red
Patreon,
Chicago
Jerome,
star.
or is that
Join
the other
is
one?
green. Everything.
Jerome, what is it
Yeah.
for? Was it for the Patreon? You need one
You
more?
join. No,
No,
Mike,
no.
it's better than Patreon.
It's better than
He can throw
Patreon.
Patreon in the trash.
Yeah,
You join his
so-
YouTube community.
Because then if you join the YouTube community, you get a badge next to your name. You get
right.
yeah, and then your name is green, and then you get to use you get to use emoji that I've uploaded, like custom emoji that only you can use.
So that's
And if
why
you-
you were asking about the AirPod. If there's an AirPod emoji,
Yeah, he can make an
Yeah.
AirPod emoji.
I mean, I already have an Apple emoji and I have an Android emoji.
That Apple one is nice. They need
It's
to
good,
make
right?
that the logo. The one that was on that render
For the
of the headphones.
headphones? Oh
that
my
should
God.
Be the logo on
I would
everything.
totally get that.
Yeah.
look at Ted. He's in space.
Ted,
He's
what
floating
is going
upside
on
down.
right now? I have no idea what Ted is doing.
Ted's out in Houston right
Ted
now.
just hit the telephoto button.
Oh my God.
Tell you,
You have a problem. Okay. I think I got it.
you got
Think
it.
I got
He
it.
is in
Is
Houston.
the other stream still open?
It's still going. Yeah, we told everybody to go to the other room. I don't know.
I'm only seeing 3 people in here, and I'm one of those 3. So
Well, I'm the second one.
So is this the way? Is this the stream we should want me to share?
Yes,
The
you
new
should
one,
share
the
that.
one
You
with
should
nobody
share
in
this one, the one we're in right now.
Okay. Let's see. And this one is dead. Okay, so we're going to share. There we go. All right.
I don't know what I'm looking at Ted's place. Ted is giving us a tour of his
They used
apartment.
It sure is.
Jerome, they used to tear me apart when they used to look at my ceiling.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
there we go. I just saw a green screen on Ted. Oh, you should have left that. That was good.
Yeah. So the fan. We saw what object was in the fan.
It's like I'm in
Ted,
Ted's
they used
apartment
to-
right now.
Mike and George used to tear me apart. We're looking at his ceiling.
Or a ceiling fan.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, there's
That's when I was
Brian.
trying to
Brian's in
use
here.
That stupid
Yeah,
thing.
they're-
That stupid. What's that
you
thing called? Oh, I can't even think of the name of it.
Was it Hangouts?
No, the thing to hold your phone up.
All right, we've got Max and
Tripod?
Brian. That's all I see.
Huh?
A tripod.
Tripod. Yeah, I was trying to use that stupid tripod.
All right, so I've put the link in the other room,
Okay,
and I'm
great.
going to close it right now.
Okay.
Come on. Link in the other room.
All right, we got 4 people in here. Let me hit the thumbs up button.
Yeah, but
Where
other than that, it's Max and it's Brian. That's all I see. Other than us.
And me and Jerome,
Exactly.
we can talk to each other.
I mean, you know, that's fine. It's
It
what we
don't
do
matter.
anyway.
Go catch the replay crew. All right, so
You see,
let's.
Ted, I'm glad Ted's doing this today because this way he's
Yeah, they gotta learn.
We're breaking him
Good
in,
learning experience.
you know.
Oh,
Wait.
Oh,
Jerome can regale us with his
you.
first time doing a live stream, right?
I-
You know.
My very first live stream, I was nervous. I was so nervous.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good now. I feel fine.
Well, yeah, you do it every day.
I do do it for the last like month, 2 months, however
Yeah.
long.
Pro at it now.
Jerome's
You know?
got a loyal audience in there too.
It's nice
All
to
right.
see.
Uh,
Hey Nigel, how's it going, man?
Nigel.
Jerome's got a loyal audience.
And Nigel was in the other one like 5 hours ago.
Oh, I know. Nigel's upset. He put it. He put in, you know, a good afternoon, good evening kind of a comment, and it immediately disappeared. And Nigel, I can't tell you what in the world's going on
And the
because
same thing happened to him last week too.
yeah, I know. And I saw, was it yesterday? YouTube was down. People were saying on Twitter.
Yeah, YouTube went
I
down.
saw that too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I
Yeah.
never know.
That's unfortunate.
Why is it make so bad?
Hey, can someone link me the show notes? I have no idea what the show notes or are they? They're in the, I have no idea
I'll
what
send
story
you-
you're reading.
Google Keep, or did you get?
I've already
Oh,
got the
it's
first
Google
story
Keep.
up
Why do
ready
I-
to go.
You
but I-
always forget.
Sorry.
Jerome.
Was he linked on there?
I'm going.
Let me see if you were linked.
I
In
mean,
there.
I also put it up in the Telegram, so yeah.
E.
That's why I like Telegram, because if we just put all the stuff in there, I know where to go.
Telegram.
Jerome, broaden your horizons.
I do. I use Google Keep to track everything I eat and my calories and my weight.
That's good. That's good. See,
You know what though? Google Keeps got some shortcomings. They haven't
will.
added nothing
and
to it.
we'll give it
Yeah.
another 6 months. They'll kill it. Okay.
Yeah, they'll kill it.
And then
Come out
You
with
can't,
another
have-
app.
they'll create
you
a new
can't
Google.
format. You know the worst part about Google Keep is, remember Mike, when we would put the show notes in there and somebody would edit it or add to it, it doesn't show you.
Oh, Docs
It
does.
doesn't- It doesn't show you like when the
That's
person
why
updates.
I kind of like Docs more because whoever you link in that, everybody's an editor. Everybody has a chance
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah, it doesn't. But it doesn't tell you when they edit. That's the stupid thing.
So I don't see the notes here. I see notes for May 8th.
It's in the
Let me see.
description. You can put it in.
Oh, it's in the
Hold on,
description.
I'm gonna
Yeah, they're there.
let me see. Is
Or if
Jerome
it's
in
my
there?
other
though?
email. Maybe it's my other email.
Jerome's got 17 emails.
Well, I don't know if you guys put it to my hello email or my other one.
I've been
I
told.
put everything to your hello email, but I don't.
Okay, thank you, George.
Yeah, I do. The
I don't
same
even think I can.
It's okay if Ted put it in the description, I can just go through it there. Yeah.
All right,
this-
are we
this'll
good to
work.
go after Jerome finds it?
I'm good. I'm just
Yep,
looking at
Ted's
it at
gone
the
again.
description.
I'm sure Brian and Nigel are enjoying watching us.
This is the pre-show. This is exactly
Yeah,
what it is.
I just put it on Facebook and Twitter, so I told Eleanor that. So hopefully she'll be in there soon.
There you
I'm
go.
here because Eleanor thought I should be here because she figured, well, what are you going to do otherwise? And I'm like, well, you're right. I'm just going to sit around and be miserable.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, we'll have a
Mike?
good show.
Life Hacker. Is that the? I thought it was another one. Okay, no. You know what? I kept on gravitating was to the Reddit one.
Yeah, it's Life Hacker. I've got that one up already. But Ted would have to share it for me.
What do I need to share?
I've got the first story up. I've got it my screen shared, so you've got to allow it to pop in when you're ready to go. But wait till you're ready to talk about the story.
Okay. Let me get my lights, cameras, black screen for whatever reason.
Jerome,
Dramatic
you're not in here. That's why. That's why
What?
you don't have the show notes.
Yeah, why am I not in there?
I don't know. Ted,
Add him to
did
the
you
note.
share
Add
it to
Jerome to the
somebody
notes.
named Crystal?
Add Jerome to the notes. How do I add him to the notes?
No, listen. Did you share it to somebody?
Maybe you sent it to someone else. Is what?
Somebody
Yeah,
named Crystal.
I saw somebody named Crystal in there. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Jerome, not Crystal. the look that Ted gave me.
All right, hold on. Let me see
Jerome, is there
what-
something else you do on the side we don't know about? You know,
Hey, that's my business. Crystal
that.
Ortega.
I just did. I thought we were all friends. We could share stuff. That's all. It's all right.
Phone
All
phone
right.
Crystal.
Yeah.
Jerome, what is your email again?
Hello at JeromeOrtega.com.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Thank
Easy.
you.
My maiden live stream.
All right, there you go. I just sent it to you.
Right.
Thank you.
Hey, talk about getting baptized by fire.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Hold on.
Do we still have people in the room right now?
I think everybody left.
We
No.
still have Nigel and Brian and Max. That's all I
And
see.
Six is in here.
Okay, great.
6 is in here now. It says we have 5. I guess one of those is you, Jerome.
Yes, it is.
And
Just
one
so I
is
can
me.
talk to people
You know
in
what?
chat.
You know what? Pretty soon it's going to be only a half because Jerome's losing so much weight. There's only going to be half of him in the
Good point. Good
You know,
point.
you know what? Someone messaged me on my other channel and was like,
Yeah,
"Good
you
for you.
lost weight.
You've lost a third of your own weight." And I didn't think about that until today. And I'm like, oh, I was like, wow, I really have. So, yeah.
Makes you
'cause
feel good, right?
crazy though. Like, yeah.
Somebody commented on you in the stream and was like, "I haven't seen you in a while. You lost a lot of weight."
Yeah, it was so weird to see. I was like,
Oh,
well, that's such a
man.
random thing to pull up.
But you're still feeling good, right?
Oh, I feel great. I'm
All right,
almost
who
at
wants
70.
to take the?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
You're almost at 70. What? Almost at
No,
70.
no, I'm
what?
almost at 75 pounds down. Almost
And
73.8.
I've got the screen shared here. You're the one who has to put it up there,
Yeah.
Ted.
Who wants to take the first story?
Let me see. I got it. What happens when your Apple products become obsolete? I got it. Let me know when it's up there.
You
It's up
still
there.
sell
It's
it
up.
for a good resale value.
Yeah. Next story. Yeah.
Good point.
It's still worth something. Oh man! All right, you got to share it, Ted.
It's sitting there. Yeah, it's ready for you.
All right. What happened? This is from a life hacker. What happens when your Apple products become vintage or obsolete? Every tech product you own has a post-release lifespan. For example, Apple's policies guarantee 5 years of support starting from the device's release date, as opposed to whenever you bought it. Once those 5 years are up, the device becomes vintage. Several 2013 and 14 models of the MacBook Air and MacBook Pro recently joined the vintage list. This includes all 11 and 13-inch MacBook Airs released between mid-2013 and early 2014, and the 13-inch MacBook Pro that launched in mid-2014. But what exactly does it mean for an Apple product to go vintage, and what happens when a vintage Apple product goes obsolete? Vintage Apple products. When an Apple device becomes vintage, it no longer receives routine software updates and isn't guaranteed by Apple to be repairable and an Apple store or an authorized service provider. Despite the reduction in support, vintage Apple devices will still work. This isn't some sort of internal kill switch, and some devices may even receive occasional system updates if they support the latest operating systems or if a major security flaw needs to be patched. It's even possible you could get one repaired in dire circumstances, but only for 2 more years, after which they move on to a worse category, obsolete. Apple's obsolete list. like vintage products, devices listed as obsolete will operate as normal as long as the hardware is in working condition. However, obsolete products lose all support. No more repairs, system updates, or security patches. Apple makes no exceptions to this rule. A list of all vintage and obsolete devices can be found on Apple's support page. These shifts in service priority can be frustrating if you're still rocking older tech and don't feel like upgrading, but the policy makes sense given the current market realities. At the rate that both hardware and software iterate, diverting resources to keep outdated devices afloat is difficult, costly, and even downright impossible in some cases. So while you've got about two more years before your now vintage 2013 or 2014 MacBook is fully nixed from Apple's services, it's probably time to start looking for an upgrade.
I never knew they had that.
I had no idea either. That wasn't something I knew.
The devices, you know what though? That's weird because I don't know, it was maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was in the Apple store and somebody had, I guess it was vintage, or obsolete. He had I guess it's just a Mac. He had the big one, and he said he had it for like 10 years, but it was for his business, and he brought it in there with like it was like, I guess the one now you would say it needed wheels, and he had it in there, and they basically told him like, yeah, we can't fix it. So I guess but they did, like they sat there, and I guess they were looking for stuff for it for like an hour, but
you know
he
what?
wasn't upset. I mean, it lasted 10 years, I guess.
Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting because I still have my original iPhone, right? So that's 2007. That's 13 years old, and it works perfectly except the up volume button is stuck.
Wow.
I don't know. And so sometimes it registers it, sometimes it doesn't. But I still like using that phone because I like to make legacy camera comparison tests with it just to show people what it's like back in 2007. But so if obviously it's obsolete, but if I brought it to an Apple store, they wouldn't mess with it at all, right? I'm guessing.
Don't look like it.
According to that post, they wouldn't touch it.
They wouldn't touch it.
Yeah.
Probably somebody would offer me money for it. I heard those go for money now.
Yeah.
Somebody they were selling them. The first one. They were selling like the unopened ones for thousands.
That's going to say how much did they get?
Wow. Because it's a hipster thing to buy. That's why.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, because even the Everything Apple Pro guy bought one, I think, off eBay, and he got cheated. I think the one he bought was, I don't know if it was fake or if it was open before or something, but once he got it, he was like, you can tell they did a bad job of resealing it.
Packaging, yeah.
Yo, Will, you think Louis Rossman will touch an older, obsolete one?
Yeah, I think he would.
That's not the only guy that would.
Well, you know what though?
Anything.
You know what though, Mike? I don't know because he has always trouble getting parts.
Who was Louis Rossman?
He's the guy who hates Apple.
He hates Apple, fixes all their computers.
but you know what? I actually follow him because I think
he's a computer repair guy.
He is
in New York City.
But what I love about him is the fact that he actually goes to these lobbyists kind of like hearings and stuff. And you know me, I'm very political, so he is actually trying to stand up against these big companies.
Right to repair.
Yeah, because for right to repair, and the lobbyists keep coming in there, and they keep giving him and just people BS about it.
A few other people had tried to repair. There was another one who was trying to repair iPads, I think.
Yeah,
and she wasn't getting no help, and she was getting.
They really get on him though.
Yeah,
they
want the
stop his
schematics,
shipments
right?
when they're coming for batteries. They said that you're not even allowed to have the schematics. Like,
yeah, and that's all they're asking for is the schematics, so they know how
they want the
everything works.
schematics, and they want to be able to order the parts. Like Apple, he'll order batteries, and
they want the
monitors
parts
and stuff, and Apple stops the. Stop
guys,
the shipment.
check this out. Juan Bagnell is in here.
What?
Oh yeah.
What? Yeah, I've never known him to watch us before. Welcome, Juan.
Ted, you got a follower.
But see, right. So support your local right to repair. I mean, that's so true. I mean, we're in that kind of era where why is this a thing? Why? And that's the monopolization of some of these companies, right? That they're able to hold on to it and say, well, no, we make it, so we hold everything, and if it's broken, then you guys need to fix it. And it really, that shouldn't be the way it is.
I agree.
I immediately called
Especially
it
like
in.
it hits farmers, especially
Right.
that have to repair tractors. All right,
All
let's hit the next story.
All right, now that's the My Side of Tech story from Reddit. Is that right, Ted?
Yep, that's right, George.
All right, I've got this.
Could you help me out with that share
All right,
screen?
I've got the screen
Okay.
shared.
What's this one?
Ooh, who found a story on Reddit? That's new.
Ted did.
Oh, nice, Ted.
All right, I've got the screen shared. You can put. There you go. All right, it's ready. You guys take it because I'm probably not in good reading mode today.
All right.
Yeah.
No worries, George.
All
All
right,
right.
which
Let
one of you
me,
got it?
let
Ted,
me-
you got it?
I got it.
Good, Ted.
All right. Okay, no, this is the wrong story. My bad. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Sorry, folks. This is
All right.
very first live stream.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
All right, when you're ready.
Good day, guys and gals. All right. Good day, guys and gals. I'm Mark Northgraves, and for the past 78 years, I have sold cell phones and cell phone accessories for two of the major carriers. I wanted to give my side of the tech industry, so please enjoy this little post, and any and all feedback is welcome. In today's world, if you go to YouTube, you can find thousands of videos on the latest and greatest smartphone, audio equipment, IoT thing with reviewers explaining the pros and cons of most devices in a style that is mostly tuned to tech nerds like ourselves. While I have come across a few channels that help the average consumer, they are still missing one major demographic, the normal consumer. Or the normal customer.
Right.
99.99% of customers that come into my stores looking to buy a phone have never heard of opening therapy, toothbrush Carter, BKM, or even hashtag some punchable face guy.
I take offense.
They come in because their device is dying or their child has finally worn them down to get a new phone. They always end up at one of two tables, the iPhone table or the Samsung table. Not because they saw a flashy advertisement or a video telling them how they can play RAID on ultra settings. It comes down to brand familiarity. This was the phone they were first sold 10 years ago by some salesman trying to sell the last iPhone or Samsung to get their monthly commission. While most of these customers are ill-advised about what smartphone A or B can do when they purchase their first phone, they have since given up and honestly don't care anymore. To them, an iPhone is an iPhone and a Samsung is an Android. This right here is the hardest part of my job, knowing what I know about phones and tech, but playing dumb when a customer comes in saying how the new iPhone 11 is the best thing since sliced bread and not wanting to hear any different. While the Pixel 4 XL may be a better buy and have a much better camera for a little less money, it's always, what's a Pixel? Or my friend has a prepaid LG phone and hates it. So day after day, I have to smile, grind my teeth, and sell them an iPhone 11 and trade in their iPhone XS. The normal customer doesn't care about pixel size, screen refresh rate, PPI, or how it feels in the hand. They are getting that phone because they have always had the brand. When I try to explain the techie side of phones to customers, they tend not to listen. My spiel always comes down to it has a bigger battery, faster processor, better camera, and comes in 5 colors. Every once in a while, a customer will ask, what phone do you have? And being a gadget fan, I tend to have a Pixel 1 Plus. When I finally get to nerd out and show off my 1 Plus, they love it, but they don't want to switch because it's too much of a hassle. I love tech, and I love conversations about it. I spend hours listening to the podcast and reading forums. However, when you work in an industry that is keeping its lights on solely by selling iPhones and Samsung, you begin to understand why smaller channels are having such a hard time staying afloat. It's why subreddits like growing rectangles are more important today than ever before. Most people just want reassurance that their purchase is worth it and that they are making the right choice. They have little care to hear about the competition or why Samsung or LG is worth their $1,000. We have to help right the ship. We have to help the normal customer by explaining in layman terms why this phone is good or bad for their needs. Because in the end, it's just a glowing rectangle.
But
Like that finishing touch.
can you make them understand by explaining in layman terms? This article seems to say that he explains it to them in normal terms, and they just basically don't ignore him.
Well, you know what? A lot of people already have that mindset. They already know what they want to buy. You know, if somebody wants an iPhone, and actually I had that conversation today earlier on my stream with Leo, with Android Stud, when he was telling me, you know, Leo, I don't know how much of it you guys caught, but Leo was saying, obviously Leo is biased, right? And he knows it. He wears it on his sleeve. And he says Android is what he goes for. But his kids, none of them, all of his kids are using iPhones. And I don't think
that must really get his crawl going.
I mean, the thing is, and I think he's tried to get them to use Android phones. And I mean, I have friends who are the same way. They don't want to hear me talk about Android. They don't care. I can show them a ton of different things. You can show somebody a selfie, the selfie pop-up camera, and they might be like, okay, that's cool, but I don't want that. You know, you might think it's cool, but they don't care.
Because a lot of the stuff that Android is doing is, I mean, it's cool because it's pushing technology or whatever, but a lot of it's just a gimmick. Like, the selfie camera pops up, but it does the same thing that theirs does. It takes a picture.
Yeah, actually, let me tell you a story.
But
I explained.
Well, hold on. I've been waiting all day.
All right.
Okay.
With Leo, the reason that people do not like Android with the green bubble, because Jerome, we were talking about it earlier, it's not because it's green. It's because when iPhone came out and they had iMessage in 2011, and Android messages were coming backwards and you weren't getting the whole message and your pictures looked terrible, nobody wanted to deal with that. So today it's pretty much the same thing with the messaging. Messaging is terrible on Android. That's why nobody wants to use it.
Mm-hmm.
But wait a minute. Are you saying that's the whole reason, though?
I don't think that might not be the whole reason, but
okay.
But initially,
that's the initial thing that got people onto an iPhone, because they had iMessage and they can send a video or their pictures looked right. Because when I first started using Android, I would send messages and it would be like 1 of 2, and then it would send 2 first and send 1 second. It was like nobody wanted to be bothered with that.
Oh my God.
That's what drove everybody to iPhone, and it's still kind of like that today because messaging is still a mess. We talk about it every week.
Everybody that I try to show them alternatives, it's very hard to get them to consider it because they've been so ingrained in that particular platform. It be Samsung, iPhone, or well, I mean,
right.
then there's the different ones that I'm fortunate enough that I can convert over, if you know what I mean. But there was a friend Tom who had Moto phones and he wasn't having good luck with them, and now he's on an LG and he's just absolutely. Once I try to talk him, he's got an LG V20. I cannot get him to part with it right now, and I think he's starting to have battery issues, but he will not part from it. So.
See, that's the thing, Mike. Whoever started with an iPhone, you tried the iPhone and it worked. So why would you switch from it? You know what I mean? It's not like there's nothing that's going to make you.
iPhone. When somebody asks me, I tell them, you want a phone that just works. Get an iPhone.
People
so if you got an iPhone in 2009 and Apple's still making phones and they work, why would you be like, let me go try a Samsung? For what?
A little bit, though, too, is this is damage from early years. Early on in Android, people have problems with Android. And the general consensus with an iPhone user is, I hate Android. They didn't even give a chance to try and look at an Android to this day. So,
yeah, but Mike, I don't know if you've seen the thing. When I was telling Jerome earlier, or we were talking about RCS, nobody feels like clearing the cache and activating it and putting your SIM out and putting it back. Like, nobody feels like going through all that.
It was
You know
such
what I mean?
a pain to get RCS to work.
Yeah,
it really was.
Oh, yeah.
On Android, stuff is kind of,
that is so true.
Yeah, and then and we've said this before, and with an iPhone, you open up the Messages app, you're already in iMessage. It's already done for you. There isn't any kind of workaround. And maybe in the future, obviously, Android messages will get better and RCS will be enabled from the
and then Google will be like, "We're killing it."
Stop. Stop.
Google will send out one of those emails. Thanks everybody for trying the beta of Android messages. Join us in Android chat.
Yeah. And then next week it will be Google Chat, okay? And the week after that it will be Android Google Chat. I know.
Have you guys gotten Google Meet on your Gmail now?
Yeah.
It's showing now.
I didn't download it.
Yeah, I haven't used it. I just saw it in there. I mean, it's gonna take a lot from Google to get me to start using some of their services again. So
get all invested, and then it's like I saw the score for Google Meet or whatever. The one they just made free is like a 1.8.
1.8? Really?
I think that's what it was on the Apple Store. I think it was like a 1.8.
Oh. Ted, you had a story. What were you going to share? Did Ted freeze on me? There you go.
So,
did you forget? I'm the old one here, not you.
Okay.
So what are we going to do? Move on to the next story?
Well, I was waiting for Ted's story, but maybe not.
Ted's stuck in a polar vortex again. He froze.
Yeah. It's whatever storm's happening in Texas.
The next story.
I think it's raining.
Stadia, I believe.
What's this one?
Guys, it's Ted's first live stream, and he's controlling the boards, and so we got to cut him a little slack.
We need to be a little forgiving
Yeah,
here.
come on, he's the noob right now. We got to play.
No, it's the internet. You know, my internet sucks too sometimes, and I've got Comcast and don't have a choice. So.
Yeah,
none of us have choices.
None
of us do.
Here either, so.
Yeah. Oh well, there we go.
All right.
All right, we can't share the stories now.
That's okay.
I think the next story.
Stadia. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Google Stadia is a lonely place. This one is from The Verge. I really like the idea of Stadia. Google's cloud service was unveiled it's been a year ago with the promise that the future of gaming isn't a box under your television, but a place instead. Stadiums have hosted sports for centuries, and Google sold Stadia as a new venue to build a virtual stadium for the future of games that stream to any device you own. It's supposed to be full of people discovering games from YouTube links or playing along with creators and streamers. Instead, it feels like Google is still in the process of building its stadium, and it's empty. Even when you're playing massively popular online games, Stadia is a lonely place. I've been playing on Stadia since its November launch, after Google fumbled many of the features that it originally promised. Free buddy passes weren't available for the first couple of weeks to invite friends to play. Google Assistant was mostly useless. There was no 4K streaming in the browser, and you couldn't even connect the controller wirelessly to use Stadia on a PC or phone. Some of these early launch issues have now been resolved, but it certainly felt like Google rushed to meet its launch date all while the world was waiting for Stadia to flop.
I wish he had said which issues had been resolved and which didn't. You know?
I never even tried it. I thought
none have been resolved.
One
was with the controller. I think one was with the controller being able to connect to the PC with the cable. It was supposed to be able to do it wirelessly, but you needed a cable, and that was on the fritz. I think they fixed that just recently.
Good. All right, Will.
During the past 6 months, I've primarily used Stadia as a way to play Destiny 2 when I'm not on my main gaming PC. Bungie's online-only multiplayer shooter is bundled free with Stadia Pro, and it was one of the bigger launch titles for Google. Destiny 2 has around 1 million daily players across PC, Xbox, and PS4, but only around 10,000 are playing on Google's streaming device.
Well, that's a huge difference.
This has led to some obvious problems. A big part of Destiny 2 is the mix of player versus environment and player versus player, with modes like Gambit that blend the two together, or the planets you visit in the game where other players roam freely next to you, eliminating the same enemies. A lot of the game involves shared activities and missions where you can form a pre-made fire team or be automatically matched with random players. Bungie hasn't implemented crossplay in Destiny 2 yet, which has left the Stadia version feeling empty a lot of the time. Basic things like visiting planets and participating in public events can feel lonely, and you often load into strikes with nobody by your side. I've regularly spent 10 minutes queuing for Destiny's player versus player mode, Crucible, only for it to error out because there aren't enough players. It's a frustrating experience for a veteran Destiny 2 player, so I can only imagine what it's like if you're new to the game and you picked Stadia as your platform of choice. Destiny 2 isn't the only game experiencing this problem. Players Unknown's Battleground, or PUBG, arrived on Stadia 2 weeks ago, and I was excited to try it out. That excitement soon turned to confusion, as I was only a handful of people who dropped from the plane in parachute.
Why?
Onto the map.
I never knew the name of PUBG until
I never knew it had a name either, but it's just
you guys
funny imagining it.
Really?
Because I didn't know that's what it stood
Oh
for.
wow. Yeah.
Because when you play on the phone, there's like a lot of people. I couldn't imagine there's like 3 people jumping out of the plane.
Yeah.
That's sad. Sad.
As I was looting for guns and armor, a player that hadn't even dropped near me suddenly appeared, shooting frantically in weird bursts and walking erratically. It was a bot. After I killed the first bot, I soon realized that the entire 90-plus lobby was full of computers, not humans playing PUBG. It was suddenly a weird person-versus environment version of PUBG. I finished the game first, winning the prize chicken dinner, after I stood in the final circle, letting bots try to kill me while I kept applying bandages. The final bot simply ran straight toward me without even firing a shot. I tried a few more games of PUBG and they were all the same. The problem, once again, stems from a lack of Stadia players and cross-play issues. PUBG matches Stadia controller players against PS4 or Xbox One players. But if you use a mouse board through the Chrome browser, then you'll only get matched against fellow Stadia players and the bots that were recently introduced into PUBG. There are no warnings about the matchmaking if you're using a mouse and keyboard, and you simply get thrown into a match and can only identify bots because they have underscores in their names. Even basic things like being able to rebind key mappings on PUBG on Stadia aren't supported. It really feels like a rushed attempt to get an existing game onto the service. PUBG and Destiny 2 are two good examples of the problematic multiplayer aspects of Stadia. But even single-player games like Thumper don't appear to have attracted many players. Ars Technica reported back in January that only 5,515 people had registered a score on the leaderboards for the first stage of the Stadia version of the game. There are signs that some developers are taking their Stadia version seriously, though. Tom Clancy's Division 2 includes cross-play support, allowing Stadia players to match up against PC players. It's even enabled by default, so you don't experience the matchmaking issues we've seen in PUBG and Destiny 2. Crossplay and cross-save are hugely important for Stadia's future, especially when you look at some of the most popular games that are mostly online and multiplayer. I've been a big supporter of crossplay for years, and with Sony lowering its hostile and stupid blocks for Fortnite, Rocket League, and Minecraft, we're only going to see more crossplay in the future. Google needs to encourage the developers on its platform to adopt it in the right way. Division 2 demonstrates the importance of crossplay for Stadia, but it also feels like a solid demonstration of the potential for Stadia in general. Input lag is a problem in both PUBG and Destiny 2 when using a mouse and keyboard with Stadia, but it feels more bearable in the Division 2. How you perceive input lag with Stadia will rely heavily on your experience with gaming. If you're used to playing at 144 frames per second on a silky smooth 144 hertz monitor with a mouse and keyboard wired up to your powerful gaming PC, then Stadia will take some time to adjust to. If you're used to playing at 30 frames per second on consoles with a controller, then you might not even notice Stadia input lag as much and immediately appreciate the benefits of faster load times and faster frame rates. Stadia's benefits are obvious, and the service has huge potential. Being able to click and instantly play your favorite game without worrying about graphics drivers, Windows updates, clunky console interfaces, or huge downloads is a genuine transformation for gaming. Google has built this solid foundation for its stadium of the future, but it has a long way to go to convince people that they should show up and spend time and money on it. I paid the $129 entry fee for Stadia 6 months ago, and I've maintained the $10 a month subscription fee so far in hopes that the game selection, features, and number of people using the service will improve. It has gradually been getting better in some areas, but it took months for Google to deliver 4K streaming on the web, and I've only just been able to start using a controller wirelessly with Stadia last week. You still can't use a controller wirelessly with an Android phone yet, and there's no support to play on iOS devices yet.
Wow.
I feel like I'm paying to be a beta tester for Google service. Stadia.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Stadia looked like a beta for the future of gaming before it even launched last year, and it's lacking most of the promised social features that would really demonstrate the potential of cloud gaming and get more people using the service. Until Google delivers, I'll mostly be enjoying Stadia alone. Wow.
Yeah, this relates right back
sad.
to our story last week about
That's pretty sad.
Beta testers, yeah. That's why I was laughing out loud. I'm sorry, but
to pay $129 and then pay $10 a month. This is enough.
And you have to pay for the controller too, and a
well, no, when you buy it, that's what the $129 was.
Mhm.
Okay.
He bought the controller and the Chromecast.
And the Chromecast.
Right.
But that last sentence is the worst right there. You can't put those
You're
words
not
together.
playing with nobody.
Enjoying Stadia alone, nobody
Yeah,
enjoys
exactly.
playing,
It sounds
especially
pathetic.
today.
It sounds absolutely pathetic.
Yeah. I mean,
and after all this time, it still sounds like it's been rushed out and isn't really ready for prime time.
there's just you can't get anybody to
This
buy into
is
that system.
time.
Well, it sounds to me like part of it is it sounds like it's complicated for the developers, and you can't get all the developers to do the same upgrades at the same time, which is going to mean it's going to stay a mess.
That's going to be disastrous.
Yeah.
It's already disastrous. Come on.
Yeah.
How long has it been out for?
More so than ever, though. They're not going to get the support.
Exactly.
I mean, they're not going to
from a
support
developer's point of view, it sounds like maybe it's just too much of a hassle to do everything that they want.
and we all know what that means. I immediately think of like Windows phones and Amazon phones.
Exactly.
You know what I
Can
think
you
of?
imagine? Oh, go ahead, Ted.
I keep thinking of Google
Yeah.
Inbox. I don't know if you guys ever use that service.
Listen, I love it.
It was way better than this, though.
I loved Google Inbox. when
Inbox.
they
Yes,
killed
I
it.
did. Same here.
A lot of people did, but that
Yep.
was way better than this.
That's what I was saying. They sent out that email and they were like, "Yeah, we're killing it in a couple months."
Ted, do you see bad news with Gary Brown's comments? Hey, at least you found us, Gary.
Yeah,
Can you-
Gary.
Can you imagine being like a 14-year-old or a 15-year-old and your parents get you Stadia and then you're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah,
Why would you buy this?
yeah.
format?
Meanwhile, yeah.
Oh,
It's all-
God.
wait,
All your friends got
it's like your
PlayStation.
parents getting an Android phone. Meanwhile, the rest of your teenage friends are all on iPhone.
Yeah, there you go. Except this is worse. I think this is worse.
Your
All right,
parents for
that's a
years.
flip phone versus iPhone. Okay.
Or
There you go.
can just wait, build your own PC, and then get GTA Grand Theft Auto 5 for free on Epic
Yeah,
Games.
I got mine.
wait
I
for
got
3
mine
days.
yesterday. I got mine
Yeah.
yesterday. That's where it's at. You guys got to learn how to build your own PC.
Yeah, no, I'm waiting for a PS5.
Hey,
There you go.
I'll stick with Asphalt 9. Thank you very much.
I can't game on the phone, George.
I
need
can't game on the
control.
phone. either.
I'll just stick with my Tetris. Okay.
I can only.
Ooh, I would
can
destroy
always
you
do
in
Asphalt
Tetris.
9 on the phone.
You probably could, but that's that game I can just keep on playing.
I used to love Tetris.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
So, have you guys ever played
I used to-
Tetris 99?
No.
It's like a
No.
it's
I
like
love
it's like PUBG for Tetris, pretty much, or Fortnite for Tetris.
Is it an iOS game?
I don't know. I used to play it on the Switch. I haven't played it in a bit now, but it's pretty
Mike,
much
you know
you're going
everything's
against
on iOS.
you're going against 98 other people on Tetris at the same time.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That game's fun. It's fun. It might get you raging for a bit if you're just learning to get into it, but yeah, it's pretty fun.
Well, before I started playing Asphalt, 7, 8, 9, my thing was Wolfenstein and Duke Nukem, so that goes back a ways.
But I used to play that too, and I
my
used to play the
God,
original
Duke Nukem
Doom.
was the game.
Yeah, Duke
Oh,
Nukem,
man.
good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to play Doom 2 over a 14.4K modem.
Yeah, I love Doom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you used to get mad when somebody used to call?
Oh my God, all the time. No, you know what? My mom got so mad when I was a teenager. Then she's just like, because I kept begging her to get a second phone line, and we did. She finally caved in because I would not leave her alone because the phone was always busy because I was always using it to connect
So
online.
she got you a second phone line just so you could play a game?
My mom loved me.
That's love, baby.
My
So
mom loved
listen,
me.
Your mom didn't get the second phone line. Your mom doesn't love you. Anybody who's watching. Nah, we got a second phone line too. 'Cause I'd be on the internet and the phone would ring and it would go. Oh, I used to. Oh my God, I don't even want to talk about it. Terrible. Terrible.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right.
I already put
how
my
do you pronounce this?
Take it.
I'll take this, but how do you pronounce that? QB?
I don't know.
Yeah. It's QB.
It is QB. Okay. All right. Well, I'll take this one. QB blames failure on coronavirus because why not?
And this is on vulture.com.
It's surely not because you can't watch QB on your own TV or that you can't even screenshot it shows or that.
Could you take Gary's comment off?
What's this?
Could you take Gary's comment off so we can see it?
Oh, okay.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, Mike.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's okay.
Let me just,
Or that the show rarely rises above mediocrity when you actually pay attention to them. But we digress. Jerry Katzenberg, co-founder of the new video platform QB and noted purveyor of the Quick Bite Entertainment, told the New York Times in an interview that he blames the failure of QB's launch, which is now dipped far below the top 100 free iPhone apps, despite an all-star creative lineup on current pandemic raging. When I lost my line throughout the world, and only the current pandemic raging through the world. I contribute everything that has gone wrong with coronavirus. He explained everything, but we own it. He owns the virus. Oh.
Well, the thing is, a lot of companies are in a position where they can blame the coronavirus for all kinds of things, whether it's coronavirus or not.
I blame Stadia for being very empty because of coronavirus.
Exactly.
Thank you. Specifically, Katzenberg expressed regret over launching the service in early April when the coronavirus was just beginning to peak in the United States. He also argued that consumers' viewing habits have substantially changed due to the overwhelming amount of time they are being forced to spend indoors. It is the avalanche of people that we want, and we're going out for a launch. The answer is no. He added, it's not up to what we wanted. It's not close to what we wanted. My belief was that there still may be many in between moments while sheltering in place. There are still those moments, but it's not the same. It's out of sync. And as for TikTok and other short form video service that has maintained and expanded upon its astronomical popularity in recent years, Katzenberg isn't paying much attention to it. That's like comparing, he scoffed, apples to submarines. What is with this guy?
But I think that makes the point that even through the coronavirus, that TikTok seems to be flourishing. So I don't think he can blame his on the coronavirus.
I mean, QB or whatever that is. I remember when it first launched, and they
Did you ever check it out?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I'm not interested at all. So
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like short form. It's like watching. Think of watching a TV show, but instead of watching a 30-minute show, it's I think like what, under 10 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like you guys have Snapchat. Who has Snapchat?
I have.
It's like, you know,
Snapchat.
It's like the TV shows on Snapchat. That's exactly what it is. Except there's a technology where if you flip it one way, it'll show the content in that way you have it, like whether horizontal or vertical.
Yep. I used to work with a client at my last job, and there was an app we were trying to promote called Firework, and it was the same kind of thing. You could put a portrait or landscape, and it would still keep playing, and it would switch depending on which way you would go. But it's weird because I see this, and when I first saw it and everyone was marketing it, because it was showing up on all my tech articles, and it was because QB or whatever probably paid a ton of money to get everybody to talk about it at the same time. I mean, that's how
true. When it first came out, you saw it everywhere.
I think the only reason you saw it everywhere is because they were trying to promote it. Didn't people to do
I was going to say, didn't T-Mobile do a thing with them where they were giving it for free for a short time? Or
just like Netflix, they were like, if you have a plan with us, you get free Quibi as well.
Right.
QB,
and that's the thing is you're trying to force another platform on us when there's so many that are out there. And so I know he's talking about TikTok, and I know he says apples to submarines, and it sounds kind of funny, but obviously TikTok is a completely different kind of content. It's different content than what QB is. It's not high production. TikTok is not high production content. One of the reasons TikTok did so well, or the reason it's doing so well now, the reason everyone's talking about it now is because TikTok has done nothing but pour money into it until people started using it. Because the app isn't bad. It's not a bad app, but it's also, look at all the trouble they're getting into right now. There's a bunch of organizations that are run by exploitation of children and stuff who are getting on their asses about it because there's like no control. There's a bunch of like 15-year-olds there who shouldn't be on there. And that's why after I quit my last job, because I worked with TikTok exclusively for a long time, it's like, dude, like I felt wrong using that app. It was like, I don't belong on here. That is not.
You talked about it to download it, but after you talked about it, Jerome, I decided, no, I'm not downloading that.
I'm just saying, there's stuff on there that's questionable, and it's like, I don't even know if you're 18. But yeah, I don't know. They're different apps for sure.
Most likely they're not.
Most likely they're not.
I guess like the reigning star on TikTok is like 17-year-old. That was like on Tommy Fallon, whatever that late night show host is.
It's a Gen Z.
They've come under fire. But they've come under fire because the content they've been putting out has been like really questionable. There's been this.
What happens when you open up everything to everybody?
One has been the autistic challenge, where it's like a song where you dance making autistic noises. Then before that was the How's My Form videos, where it was like just racist and stuff like that. And so on and so forth.
You're going to be
did you see that?
Making fun of autistic people.
Those are those challenges that at the job I worked at, we helped to curate some of that stuff. FYI.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there was one that was on Twitter. There was like a girl and a guy. They did some kind of it was a real racist thing. But anyway, people like got information from her school and were posting it.
I remember you sending that to me, Will.
Yeah.
That's a real popular meme that they've been doing.
That's low.
What got me though was she got expelled from her high school, but classes were already suspended because of the coronavirus, and they're trying to come after her college. What she did was reprehensible. But what always gets me is like how high schools take action against you when you do stuff when you're not in school. Like,
exactly. Yeah. No.
Well, they have what's it called? Like athletes do, like those morality things where you have to be,
But that's
you got to
in
be like
college.
a decent person. You know?
Yeah, that's in college though. High school,
I think high school.
like,
I think
when do they
high
come in?
schools. I think high schools have it now too, though. Just
Wow.
like with your job, if you post something crazy on social media and your boss finds it, I don't know.
And that's why I can't work in corporate anymore. Someone's just gonna find my YouTube channel and me raging about Google. And they're like,
Raging
well,
at
forget it.
Verizon.
Yeah.
And when I was still at Blue Cross, I saw people get in trouble with bosses because their bosses saw something they put on Twitter or Facebook. You know,
I don't have to worry about that with my bosses. They're like, internet, like, they're just learning Facebook. So
And they'll probably just stick to Facebook. That's it. Don't
exactly.
go anywhere else.
yeah.
All right, I've got the next story up.
All right. So let's see the third story.
Which one is
Let's
it?
skip and do the other
Huawei
Reddit story.
P30 Pro.
What do you want to do?
Huawei P30 Pro.
Okay.
I could take it.
Take it, Jerome.
Okay, hold on. Let me find it here. So not Motorola, Huawei. Okay. I
Yeah,
got
it's
it.
ready to go when you're ready.
All right. Huawei's P30 Pro gets another re-release to keep the Google Dream alive. Oh, yeah. I was just talking about this. Huawei is re-releasing its flagship phone from last year as the P30 Pro, quote, new edition. The device now ships with Android 10 pre-installed, and it's got a new silver color option that was previously only available on the P40 Pro. Otherwise, this is an identical device to last year's phone, meaning it has a 6.47-inch OLED display, 4 rear cameras, and crucially comes with a full suite of Google's apps and services. Emphasizing its compatibility with Google apps and services, an image of the phone on Huawei's German website advertises that the phone allows you to, via Google Translate, use top apps as usual, use Android as usual, and get security updates as usual.
I guess that's what this picture is.
The P30 Pro is a significant device for Huawei because it was the last flagship phone the company released before U.S. trade restrictions prevented it from using Google's apps or services. While it's continued to release new phones like the Mate 30 and P40 Pro based on the open source core of Android in October 2019 and April 2020, respectively, it also re-released the P30 Pro once before for users who weren't prepared to leave Google's ecosystem behind. The new version of the P30 Pro, it announced in September last year, was the same handset as the March original, only with new color schemes. I thought that they had added RAM and storage to it. Huawei's sales numbers suggest that many people don't want to buy a Google-free Android phone. The Wall Street Journal recently reported that Huawei smartphone shipments outside of China dropped by 35% in the first quarter of the year. Although the coronavirus pandemic explains some of the fall, Huawei's sales declined 2 times as much as Samsung's and 4 times more than Apple. The WSJ notes that the fall threatens Huawei's placement as the world's second biggest smartphone manufacturer.
Where you pick this phone up at?
The P30 Pro, I don't know. And
The
actually,
new one was just in Germany first, but they say it's going to be in more countries.
yeah, I also heard, I swore I just read some news that US was also banning them from either chipset stuff or semiconductor kind of business as well.
Yeah, but they also re-upped the ban for another year.
Right.
Yeah,
And
that's what
I
Juan just said in the chat.
And so that's
Juan just said that in the chat.
So they re-upped the ban for another year, but they also gave them those same exemptions that they gave them before. So it's very strange what they're doing. But the one thing I've noticed, it seems to be the only thing that Republicans and Democrats agree on is they all want Huawei out. Why, I don't know.
Wow.
See, and that's the thing too, is I really think there's something more behind it.
I agree. Especially when it's on both sides of the aisle. The hatred is coming from everywhere.
Yeah, and so there's either a business deal that went bad or something, because Huawei is not the only company here who's guilty of either some kind of privacy, whatever,
or
security
commercial
breaches or whatever.
CTE had gotten in trouble first, and they paid their penalty, and they seem to be fine ever since.
Yeah, there's something else behind it. Like somebody got on someone's
before?
bad side or whatever, but who knows?
Oh, well, Ted, you didn't know about that? ZTE had gotten in trouble just before Huawei when this first started.
Yeah, I knew
And
about that, but ZTE has not been the same ever since.
Paying what, $5 million fine, and they seem to be fine after that.
Okay, I'm
But
at,
Huawei keeps getting caught with stuff.
They have not been the same ever since, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Juan
and
makes a good point
makes a
there.
very good point there. Yeah, Qualcomm controls the market, and everybody complains about how expensive the 5G phones are. Well, you can
See-
thank Qualcomm for that.
There's always some kind of ulterior motive. I feel like it's not just like black and white when you read these things. There's always some kind of power move behind it. And then I'm not going to get into but you know how I feel about politics. There's always
Let's
some
get into
kind of
the
power play
politics,
happening.
Speak on it, brother. Speak on it, brother.
Let me bring up this question. Wait a minute. How come Qualcomm hasn't been brought up on antitrust or any kind of like antitrust?
I don't think because they're not doing anything but overcharging for that 5G, for those 5G.
But they dominated.
I thought they were brought up on charges in the.
They're not doing
in
anything
the
in
EU.
they're just saying you're going to pay this much if you want.
Did y'all
Nothing-
see Google? Google is about to
I
get brought up.
was
Did y'all
gonna say
see it?
I just was going to say that right here.
Yeah.
Justice Department and state AGs likely to file antitrust lawsuit against Google and Wall Street Journal says that just popped on my phone. I'm like,
but you knew that was coming because. But you knew that was coming because Europe did it
chipset
3 years ago.
trying to make their own chips or introduce them here to another phone manufacturer. They seem like.
But has anybody accused Qualcomm of stopping other chip makers from competing? I don't think so. You know,
No.
Wait a minute, how Qualcomm manipulates the carriers. That's how the updates. Somehow they work the updates.
Currently, what Qualcomm just owns the patents on all this fancy, radios that gets put in phones, and they own those patents for 25 years before the people can use it. So.
Yeah, so there's nothing illegal that they're doing. What they go after Google and some of the others for is stopping competition. Well, you can't accuse Qualcomm of that, at least not.
But there was something that wasn't Broadcom supposed to were looking into buying Qualcomm. Whatever came from that?
I think Qualcomm just kept getting bigger, and that just ended that deal. That's my guess. But yeah, there was
it was more like it wasn't a deal. It was like an aggressive expansion.
Yeah.
I love that word. All right, let's see. Next story. What do you guys want to take on now?
Oh, well, the next story
relates how about this one?
What about?
Is this the extending?
Let's do this one.
Is this the telecom supply chain? Is that the one?
No, this is the. Let me share the screen and show you.
Okay, good. You do the sharing. Just let us know which story you're on.
This is the Android Central calling a phone mid-range doesn't make sense anymore. We can do better.
Article.
Oh, I haven't read this one.
It makes perfect.
You want to read it, George? Or
no, go ahead. I'm not in the mood to. My frame of mind.
I got you.
Okay.
All right, I got you. Let me. All right, guys.
Calling
a phone mid-range doesn't make sense anymore. We can do better.
Oh, here
and recognize that the system of classifying phones into these buckets is flawed to begin with. No. That'd be more righteous than it sounded. Okay. When we say a phone is mid-range, what does that even mean nowadays? Do its specs land under a certain level overall? Is it based on a specific missing features? Or is it purely based by price? Any of those calculations can easily be confusing, if not outright flawed. I'm not sure how or when exactly the nomenclature was developed, but for some reason, technology enthusiasts are eager to put phones into buckets. Budget, mid-range, and flagship at a minimum. Problem is, the lines between these made-up categories differ from person to person and just keep getting more and more blurry. I suppose flagship, as silly as the name sounds, can always make some sense, as it's always going to represent the best and most expensive phones available. But now even that's being called into question. New foldable phones are more expensive than what we normally consider a flagship phone, yet they often have a lower specs and more compromises. But then if we say that a flagship is a phone above a certain level of spec or features, rather than the price, things continue to get murky. Is a $900 OnePlus 8 Pro in the same category as a $1,400 Galaxy S20 Ultra because their specs are nearly the same? That represents a $500 gap in price, which is far too wide to be considered a reasonable range within which people will cross-shop phones. We're just going to have to deal with the fact that there's actually nuance in the comparison of phones that reach well beyond grouping them into big categories based on a couple of specs or features. And nowhere is that more apparent than what we call mid-range today. As high-end phones get ever more expensive and tons of companies keep competing for low prices at the bottom of the market, the so-called mid-range keeps getting wider. I've seen the $400 Pixel 3a called mid-range at the same time as the $700 OnePlus 8. They're in no way comparable. Things get murkier when we look at value flagship type phones with the high-end specs, but without extra features or materials in order to keep the price down. Is the Poco F2 Pro a flagship because of its spec sheet, or is it a mid-range because of its price? There's no single answer. As if that wasn't confusing enough, it only addresses new phones with known fixed prices. But we've seen time and time again that a phone can easily move from being a flagship to mid-range in a matter of months, depending on how its price drops as it ages and where industry pricing trends go. The Pixel 4 XL used to be a flagship. Then it got an official price cut to $600. Now it's cheaper than phones we call mid-range. So which is it? I'd argue it's clearly the latter and should be evaluated as such. It's a perfect example of how putting phones in specific baskets and leaving them there is of little use to anyone. So what do we do instead? Let's start looking at phones based on their merits and current price and go from there, with the number of variables, the largest of which being people's personal preferences. There's never going to be a science to categorizing and comparing each of the various specs like screen size, processor, memory, storage, camera arrangement, water resistance, battery size, charging speed, wire material, design, button placement, speaker quality, screen quality, and camera quality. Every single person puts different weights, some consciously, most unconsciously, on each of these categories and comes to a conclusion on how much they like the phone. And then, of course, that's compared to its price. It's why we write in-depth review of phones, not just comparative spec tables. For a lot of people, the basics of price, design, cameras, and battery life stand out. But if that's all a phone has, completely failing in every other category, it probably isn't going to reel in a ton of sales. It's a balancing act. And the one with a dramatically different amount of variance in it at an MSRP of $400, $500, $600, and $700. And the smartphone companies are constantly tweaking what they can offer in various combinations, all within a specific pricing framework to win over customers. So why do we continue to say a phone is mid-range as if there's no nuance to that position? Let's stop.
Yeah. And you see Juan's comment was written by Andrew Martinick. Andrew Martinick. He's a really good writer. And you see Juan's comment, we can do better, but we don't know how to make this better. And I think he's right. And I specifically commented on Andrew's article and told him I thought I agree with the article 100%. And when you look at that one paragraph that listed all the different features that people judge a phone on, how do you say what's mid-range and what's not? I mean, you look at the new Poco and you look at
it's murky.
Yeah, and you look at the new TCL phones. Well, pretty nice specs. Are those mid-ranges because of the price? Well, yes and no. You know, it's very murky.
Yeah, I mean, I think if anything, it's just a way to kind of put a category somewhere. But yeah, again, it muddies up the playing field. Sometimes when I think of flagship, right? I think so. When I think of flagship, I think of cars in general, right? Like there's a flagship car for, like a Toyota, but then there's also a flagship car for Mercedes. Right. And obviously those are priced differently, but the flagship is like the best of what that particular company has. The mid-range term though is the one that does get really murky.
Well,
I mean,
see,
obviously it does.
Years ago, the mid-range and budget, well, they weren't so hot. But those days are gone. And now a lot of the mid-range and budgets are pretty good. So it's made it much murkier.
Which is, it's good though, at least. I mean, that's something I've been happy about, is to see a $400 phone actually,
Yeah.
get to be something that's worth it, that I can recommend people. Because that's been a hard thing for me to recommend, is a phone priced in that price range. But yeah, that playing field's getting bigger, and it's nice to see some competitiveness in that category.
And
in the mid-range category.
Yeah, and I see Juan's comment, and I've heard him mention this in some of his broadcasts too. It's that average consumer, that's a hard thing to quantify.
Like, yeah, a lot of people waste their time on that phrase.
Yeah.
I even put 2 videos on that. Like, the average consumer doesn't care about, turning your phone into a desktop. Nobody uses that.
Exactly.
Oh, Will. Sorry, Will, let me get you back.
I wonder what happened to
Will's
Will.
been yelling,
wait a
yelling
minute.
through
What
the
happened?
monitor.
Yeah. Will, did you go in a timeout?
Oh man.
He went to get a lollipop.
You came back from the corner store, Will?
Yeah.
I like Gary Brown's comments. Specs can't tell you if a phone, a flagship,
So we have Michael
That's a
here.
pretty good comment.
Michael Dixon Jr. has a question, guys.
That's my
Who wants to
son.
help him out?
His dad can help
So,
him out.
Mike, you can
Yeah.
take it.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, that's my son. Mike. Yeah, they moved up. They've gone to phones now. So
They're not just making Alcatels and BlackBerry's phones.
Yeah.
The TCL 10L, which is $250, and there's the TCL 10 Pro, which is $450, and both seem very solid.
he shopped for a TV a while back, and TCL was one of the ones he looked at, and
I have 2 of their 4K TVs right here, and I love them.
with the Roku built in, right?
Yeah, Roku is built in both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, my brother's got one. He seems quite happy with. So
Oh, yeah. I had one in Tennessee. Eleanor has it now, and she likes it too.
So, but yeah, the mid ranger is
so
completely
based on
is
the article,
completely no more, not a.
You can't quantify it anymore. That's the problem.
Sorry, Mike, we're not rubbing it in. Oh, I know why you're talking about. My son got a TV and he's not happy with it.
Return it.
Yeah,
no,
return
No,
it.
too late.
What
Too
TV
late
did you
now.
get?
Oh God,
What
I forget
TV
what
did
it
you get?
is. It's not good. It's
Let the people know.
Yeah, Mike, put in there what TV it was. 2 TC. Yeah, Gary Brown.
Yeah, I got my TCL at Best Buy,
Michael.
and I don't think you can beat their prices for pay TV.
Yeah, Phillips. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay. Yeah, I would recommend
Michael got a
it.
first 4K. Now you guys know.
But I don't understand, Mike.
That was the TV he got. All right.
I mean, but why is it bad now? Why wasn't?
no, it's
did you
been
guys
bad.
but did you not notice it from the get go and then just try to return it? Oh, that's not me I shouldn't question that.
No, I tried to
just
tell him
curious.
nicely, and he just wanted to stick with it. So,
Oh, I gotcha.
but
All good.
Damn.
Yeah.
So the TCL was better, and it was $140 cheaper. Damn.
I said I would highly
You see,
recommend
He's
TCL.
surprised
Michael
me.
Dixon was the normal consumer.
There's this big old TV and an empty box. I'm like, going, "What you do?"
Oh yeah, I see Mike's comment there. I've been unhappy with it since I got it. I bought it thinking I could lean on a name brand as opposed to when I was looking at the TCL, even though it was cheaper. I gotcha.
Oh, look at Juan's next
The
comment.
IR Blaster was the one. I used to love that.
Yeah. Well, the new TCL
So, like,
does have
like,
IR
Mark-
blasters
yeah.
on.
Mike was
Nah, I
the
wouldn't-
most went for
Yeah. So
Oh
I'm not
yeah,
just
that's
gonna
right.
buy it for that, but
The 10
I used to
Pro
play with this.
the 10 Pro has an IR blaster, right?
Yes, it does. Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to come out because it seems like technically TNI
How about the 10L?
deserve to get one
Does the
for
10L
free,
have an
so
IR
we'll have to
blaster?
buy ours.
Hey, when somebody like I think TCL and this 10 Pro, whatever that name is, everybody gets excited. Oh, it's got a headphone jack now. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But what about
when it came out, it had a headphone jack. Everybody, woo! You know. So.
Yeah, but LG's got a headphone jack.
Ours has a headphone jack, so we're good there. You know.
Yeah.
LG's got the headphone jack.
What
and
about
the
Oh,
power.
wait, we don't need to talk about LG and our headphone jack. That's not important. Okay. Sorry, Juan, I'm just
It's not
being
important because they're not giving it out for free.
funny. Yeah.
Don't be bad mouthing LG.
I
Juan.
know.
You know.
Mike, you'll get the
Juan Soto on
headphone jack
LG.
and a refrigerator.
Yeah.
There you go.
I actually
Hey,
got a
but
10 Pro coming in, so I'm looking forward to it.
What do you
Got
get?
a what?
I have a 10 Pro coming in next week. So
Oh, you got
yeah,
one?
I'll have to do. I'm looking forward
Wait,
to doing a
Did you
camera.
do like I said? Did you do like I
me and
said? Or
Technically are the only ones that can't get them to give us one.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I somebody referred me to
Okay.
somebody. So and then they got in touch
see?
with me. So yeah.
that's what you got to do. I told you. You got.
I mean, you know me. I don't really care. You know how I
I
get.
know you don't. Wait till they see the review.
Yeah, then they're gonna ask for me to give it back. Always shitting on companies.
I have to say, the 10 Pro is phone I'm actually excited for that price. I mean,
It's hard for me. It's hard for me to.
I want to know about the.
And I
You
know
guys
that
hear
Oh, sorry, Ted. You want to go ahead? Sorry, I know there's a weird delay. Go
Oh,
for it.
oh, there's a delay. I'm sorry. Yeah. So the TCL 10L,
right.
that's $200. Does that have a IR blaster?
The 10L is $250. The 10 Pro is $450. And I'm trying to remember if the 10L has an IR blaster. I thought they both did, but I don't remember now.
Well, real quick, the reason. Well, I see Gary saying there, I'm going to return it. Gary, I'm actually getting one like from the company, so it's not, it's for me to camera test, which is what I'm looking forward to.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about the TCL 10 Pro that I initially questioned is the fact that it's running a Snapdragon 600 chipset, right? 600 series chipset,
Right.
$450. Yeah, I know it has quad camera, all that kind of stuff. But look at what this reported. You guys saw the news about the Pixel 3a or Pixel 4a. I was going off on it today. I was really excited because the Pixel 4a looks like it's going to be priced at $350 with 128 gigs
That's right.
internal storage, 6 gigs of RAM, and it's going to have a Snapdragon 730 chipset. Why would I buy a TCL 10 Pro at $450 when I could get a Pixel 4a for $400? That's probably going to have a better camera than what the TCL 10 Pro is going to give you. Like, we can sit all day and be like, well, the TCL 10 Pro has 4 cameras. How good are those 4 cameras?
Well, I guess we'll find out. I'm getting both, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to get both of those phones.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. I see Juan saying in there, nothing wrong with the 675. I haven't had a chance to ever test a Snapdragon 6. Well, I did, right, Mike? Yeah.
The 632 in a Moto G7 and the 600 series, I say, is probably the best value chipset out there. I don't care what anybody says. I will figure a way to fight them. 600 series is for the win. 700 is for the new ball.
Phones and they're all just fine.
I love this. I love me 600s. Okay.
It's hard. I guess it's hard having a Pixel 4 and an iPhone 11 Pro, and it's just because I think my expectations are going to be like I can't deal with the lag, but we'll see.
Stop saying lag.
I know. I'm just saying.
It has lag on it. Oh, I'm coming to Chicago, whipping your butt.
You come to Chicago.
I'm gonna come to Chicago and
It's
take
not
my
the right time to be coming. Don't be going anywhere right now, Mike. You stay there.
Ted,
What?
Ted, did you put something up on screen?
Me? There's nothing wrong with the 600.
Yeah, the Pixel division is all messed up.
Yeah. I think this is a good segue to go into the Pixel story
Okay.
What happened?
on Reddit.
I'm looking for the
Mark Lavoie, or is this with something else?
You know, everybody quitting.
Oh no.
There's nowhere Pixel division left.
'Cause the Pixel division is now the Nexus.
Yeah, I wish.
Everybody
Yeah.
celebrate.
Jerome, you want to take this one?
Sure. I need to pull up. I'm sorry. Let me pull up the article real quick. It's the Reddit article, right?
Yeah. The second winner.
Okay, I got it here. Google's Pixel division undergoes shakeup after disappointing launch. When Google announces its latest Pixel smartphone in the coming weeks, it will be without some key architects of its previous model, which drew rare internal criticism from the company's head of hardware, Rick Osterloh, the information has learned. The mastermind behind Google's Pixel camera, Mark Lavoie, who last year showed off his team's photography advances during a Google event in New York City, left the company in March. The exit, which hasn't been previously reported, follows the departure of Pixel general manager Mario Carraz, the second top executive to leave the Pixel orbit in less than a year. Both declined a request for comment. The shakeup follows sluggish sales and tepid reviews for Google's most recent phone, the Pixel 4, and precedes one of the most critical launches in the Pixel phone line's 4-year history. The company's hardware division needs to maintain favor and funding as Google's top brass look to rein in costs because of a recent slowdown in advertising revenue. A return to the strong reception that followed the release of earlier Pixel devices would help. What Google has dubbed the Pixel 4a will make its debut online sometime soon. Industry experts originally expected the announcement at its annual I/O conference, which was slated to start on Tuesday, May 12, but canceled because of the coronavirus pandemic. The new phone should showcase some of the Pixel's best features, like its camera, which leans on software rather than added hardware to capture better photos, while cutting costs in certain areas like its processor. A Google spokesperson declined to comment on those features, the launch date, or the employee exits. The smartphone's most winning feature may be its price. It will just cost $399. Maybe cheaper now. According to news reports, half as much as the last Pixel and matching Apple's new iPhone SE. A lower price or mid-range type of phone would make sense, said Brian Ma, an analyst at research firm IDC. It's not exactly the optimal time for people to be coughing up $1,000 for a flagship phone, or ever.
Nope.
Stanford image guru, Google rebooted its own smartphone line under the Pixel name in 2016, partly to build a far-reaching brand that could showcase the breakthroughs it was making on the software side, like its voice-activated assistant. To help with its camera, Google tapped Lavoie, a pioneer in computational photography at Stanford University, where he met co-founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin when they were computer science grad students. Before he joined Google full-time in 2014, Lavoie led a project at Stanford that turned into Street View for Google Maps and also consulted with the Google Glass team on the camera for its headset. Carraz, who left Hewlett-Packard to join Google in 2005, worked as Pixel's general manager from its start. He had previously launched a number of hardware products at Google, including its first ever Android phone in 2010. The first generation Pixel received a warm reception from tech reviewers who touted its intuitive user interface and camera capabilities. While still dwarfed in sales by Apple and Samsung phones, Pixel over the next 4 years attracted a loyal fan base, thanks in large part to Lavoie's photography advancements. For instance, it could take crisp snapshots of constellations at night. From a Pixel perspective, it's always been about the camera, said Carolina Milanesi, an analyst.
Milanesi, I listen to her every week.
Milanesi?
Yeah.
All right. An analyst at Creative Strategies. Osterloh's critique: sales for the Pixel 3 and 3a showed promise, but last year's Pixel 4 would get panned. At a hardware team all-hands meeting in the fall ahead of the October launch in New York, Osterloh informed staff about his own misgivings. He told them he did not agree with some of the decisions made about the phone, according to two people who were present at the meeting. In particular, he was disappointed in its battery power. Google denied a request to speak with Osterloh. Google CEO Sundar Pichai had hired the former Motorola president in 2016 to unify and lead the tech giant's disparate hardware projects, and Osterloh had predicted the Pixel would move from a niche to mainstream product by 2022. Instead, the latest Pixel looked like it would help cement the smartphone's place as an also-ran. Some reviewers shared the hardware boss's doubts. They complained about the battery, which had less capacity than previous generations, and about the added radar to operate a cool but impractical, quote, no-hands feature. They also worried about the new face authentication feature, which could unlock a person's phone when their eyes were closed, a security concern for sleeping users that's now fixed. Sales slowed. Google shipped around 2 million units of the Pixel 4 in the first 2 quarters. It was available at the end of 2019 and beginning of 2020, a drop from the 3.5 million Pixel 3 and nearly 3 million Pixel 3a models that shipped in the first 2 quarters of their availability. In the US, Google's largest market, it had just 3% market share of the smartphone market last year. By last October's hardware event in New York, Pixel leadership was already undergoing a changing of the guard. Kiraz in August had moved to an obscure role, reporting directly to Pichai. Then he left the company altogether in January to join cybersecurity firm Palo Alto Networks. 2 months later, Lavoie quietly parted ways as well. Then the coronavirus turned into a global pandemic, shuttering businesses and sending Google's global employees home. As advertising revenues waned, Pichai in April said the company would significantly slow down its hiring pace and cut down on non-essential marketing. Google canceled a number of live events, including the I/O conference it had planned for this week at Mountain View's Shoreline Amphitheater, where executives had showed off earlier Pixel versions in previous years. Some of those executives would have been out of the picture anyway. Those are big hits, I think. But I here's a question for you guys. How do you think this is going to affect Google's camera in the future, or do you think it's going to affect it at all?
That's what they were discussing.
It won't affect it this year.
They were discussing that on Droid Live today, and they were both saying that everybody's going to start complaining if the camera's not 100% up to snuff. They're all going to say it's because that guy left, because he was the camera guy.
And where did they go? They left.
They're coming to Apple.
Oh, they both.
I just thinking the same thing.
Well, they both went to other companies. Neither of them went to Apple.
Apple's gonna buy that company.
Palo Alto Networks is going to get bought by Apple.
Definitely, yeah. But anyway,
Did you see?
And on Droid Life, they were making the point that the best Pixel, that most successful Pixel, was the Pixel 2, and it's been going downhill ever since. And the 3A came back, but look at the Pixel 4 sales is less than half of what the Pixel 2 wasn't. So things are not looking good there.
It's weird because I have my certain feelings about Google. Will does too. Will's very, very forward about how he feels.
He's very vocal about it.
Well, you know what? Here's a perspective I didn't think about, and this is something that actually Android Stud had mentioned in my stream earlier today, and he said, and I don't know why I didn't think of this, but he just said Google doesn't care. They don't care. And not about what they're doing, but they don't care about anybody else. They just want to make what they want to make, and they're going to make it regardless of what anyone thinks about it.
Well, that's always the ongoing argument. Why does Google make physical phones? Because they want people in their ecosystem, because they care about selling phones. They don't get, nobody's sure. Nobody ever has been sure.
So is it that they don't care, or we just don't know what Google really wants right now?
Yeah, Google doesn't know. Google doesn't know what they want.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do they know what they want? Nobody's ever been able to tell.
Originally, the Pixel brand was supposed to be like their flagship line, exactly. They were going to water it down. The Pixel Chromebook, which was the first Pixel device ever, had the best monitor in the game. That was touchscreen as well. And then after that was the 2015 Chromebook, which was also the best screen. And then now they're just killed it with the A series, the Pixel 3A, the Pixel 4A, the Pixel Book Go. It's just watered down now.
Well, Juan is making a point. Google isn't one thing, and I think because they're not one thing, is anybody there sure why they're making Pixel phones? Well, I think
I want to
find out the answer.
I'm thinking about myself.
One thing, are we just talking about Google Search, Google Android? Because
I mean, obviously. So when I was talking about it, I was talking about the Pixel division. That's kind of where my head was there.
Right.
What are they doing? That's what I meant.
Now you see Juan's next comment. A lot of people at Google really care about hardware. Now he probably talks to some of those people, so I guess he would probably know.
I'm guessing those are the people that came from HTC.
There's a whole store.
I'm guessing those are the people that came from HTC when Googlebot took those talents over. But I guess they're not being listened to. Because there was, in the article we just read, there was an argument over the battery life, but it's still.
Yeah, but we're speculating. We don't know if it's just the people that came from HTC that care. Maybe there are already people there that did care. Who knows?
Well, there's less people now since the two executives left.
They should have stuck it out with Motorola when Motorola had a good thing going.
I think they should have kept Motorola too.
Yeah. They should have just had Motorola as the Google phone company.
I'm sure they had their motives too. It's sad to see because Motorola they were my company for a bit,
They could have kept an American company alive.
I mean, and they were based in
still have a
Chicago.
Moto phone, so I'm
They were
good.
based in Chicago. That's my home team. So
Yeah.
Oh well.
Now they belong to the streets. I mean, Lenovo.
Lenovo, the Lenovo Legion. Have you seen that phone? That's their gaming phone.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
It has the
I saw it on yours.
on my stream. That's right. It
Yeah.
had the selfie pop-up camera but on the side of the phone.
Yeah, remember I said that it looked kind of weird to me.
Yeah,
That's the name of their gaming laptops, Legion.
Yeah, and so they're trying to make a phone like that too, and it's meant to be landscape. So if I had my phone like this, the pop-up camera would come up here on the side instead. So it's made for portrait, or it's made for landscape mode apparently.
Right.
Sorry, guys. Okay, we ready for the next story? Let's do the Android Authority one on Sony phone sales. George, can you help me with that one, please?
Sony makes phones.
This is a very sad. Well, yeah, based on this story, this is a very sad story. I'll read this one. I guess I'm okay to read.
Okay.
There you go, Joe.
All right, I'm sharing the screen.
Thank you. Help me out.
Okay. All right, this is from Android Authority, and here we go. Sony phone sales last quarter was so bad that we don't even know what to say. Well, that's a fact.
Wow.
Today, Sony announced its. My computer's acting up. Come on. Okay. Today, Sony announced its quarterly review revenue report for the first quarter of 2020, the end of its fiscal year. While there was certainly some good news in the announcement, the elephant in the room is Sony's smartphone sales, which have hit a record low. According to the report, there were only about 400,000 Sony smartphones shipped in the first quarter of the year. Boy, that is really, really bad. You're not kidding. In fact, it started with a low estimate of 700,000 units shipped for one quarter, but couldn't even meet that. Looks like they barely made half of that. Come on. For the sake of comparison, Samsung reportedly sold over 400,000 units of the Samsung Galaxy S20 series in a matter of weeks in the United States alone, and that's a weak showing for the company. Sony's smartphone sales are really bad, but why? Obviously, part of the blame for these lower Sony smartphone numbers can be placed on the COVID-19 pandemic, which no doubt affected both supply and demand for the company's phones. However, there isn't an investor alive who wouldn't see that Sony's smartphone division clearly has a massive problem, regardless of the pandemic. Granted, Sony is kind of shooting itself in the foot when it comes to phone, considering that the company's newest major product, the Sony Xperia 1-2, very weird, announced in February, is yet unavailable to consumers. It's hard to sell smartphones when consumers can't, buy your newest smartphones. In the report, Sony declined to provide a forecast for the next fiscal year. Gee, what a surprise. Once again, the pandemic is the likely excuse for this, but it's far more likely that it doesn't want to consider to set low bars for itself and then not even meet them. So far, Sony has stood firm that it will never abandon its smartphone division and will continue to keep it afloat by downsizing operations and using the success of other divisions to prop it up. The question is, how long can it do that before it becomes a ridiculous endeavor? And I agree 100%.
I want to see a good Sony phone again. If you guys saw the Xperia, what is it? The Xperia 1 Mark II. That's supposedly going to use, or it's going to take a couple cues from some of Sony's mirrorless imaging. I don't know exactly
There was supposed to be a phone that they announced that you could be used as a monitor for one of their alpha cameras, and that plugged into the camera, it gave the camera 5G capability. Like, that hasn't been released though. So
yeah.
I mean, the last Sony phone I had was the XA2, and that was a pretty good phone, but they seem to just be falling right off the map.
I mean, I think in this particular case, it's strictly just the coronavirus. Nobody's like, this isn't the market to be selling phones or let alone buying.
Yeah, but coronavirus or no coronavirus, Sony has been sinking fast for like the last 2 years at least.
What they had a good last year was good for them.
They didn't have a good quarter last year anytime that I know of.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see Sony make a good. Like, I used to be a Sony guy back in the day. I really liked their compact phones because it was one of the last ones that had like a really, I guess, a much more compact size, which is weird for me to say now because, you know, I want something a little bigger. It's
Well,
funny
I
when
have my XA2 and it's kind of compact and it's, you know, I
Yeah.
kind of like it when I use it, you know.
well, it's like when I got the iPhone SE, it was still small, but I thought it was really good it still worked really well as a form factor, but it just made me think about the original iPhone SE and how people were upset they couldn't get, you know, that 4-inch display. And I can only imagine using something that small now.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
And with the iPhone 11 Pro, right? That's
What's
screen
that?
is that?
The iPhone 11 Pro is what is it? A
Too big.
6.1.
What is it? 6.
No.
Right?
6.1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
The-
what I thought.
But this
Will,
iPhone
you got the
11
too big
is
one.
kinda
You got the
small,
the
it's
Max.
also-
Oh, he doesn't have the big one. Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
the Pro. I
I
don't
have
have the
the
Max.
You have the perfect
It
one.
doesn't feel so small because it's kind of wide, you know.
Mine is
So-
too big.
So Gary says, Sony makes good TVs and PlayStation. Here's the thing. From the 2 years I had Sony, which was like 2014, 2015, Sony was actually actively like separating their phones from their ecosystem. So like they were getting rid of like, you know, their music line from the phone. And the only thing they kept on it was the PlayStation network. But I think maybe if Sony actually embraced like their ecosystem they have with PlayStation and with, you know, their alpha cameras and bring the phone into it,
Ooh,
I think it would
that's actually a
Yeah.
really good
I
point.
thought that was like
Yeah.
a selling point for Sony. Supposed to
should
be
be a
that you
selling
could play the
point.
PlayStation.
The PlayStation
Yeah,
was
it was
they
supposed
were
to
the
be you
tie-in.
could play the PlayStation from the phone or something. That was
Yeah,
like
they do have that. Matter of fact, they do have
The
that.
older ones in
They have
20
them on Sony
yeah.
phone.
in mid 2015 or 2014 they had some kind of tie-in where you can plug in. I think you used the phone. You could plug it in
PS4 game streaming just went all
to a
Android.
monitor or something. I
And-
think it was.
The XA2 is from 17, and I don't think they had that tie-in anymore at all, as far as I could tell.
Yeah. It's like they separate all their ecosystems out of the phones now. So
Yeah, I see that comment there from Vizikos, but did they say what the Xperia 1 Mark II is going to be priced at? Because I have a feeling it's probably going to be really expensive. Sony really puts the price up on a lot of their stuff.
But he's right. I mean, they don't do any marketing whatsoever.
Mhm.
yeah,
Did y'all?
like Microsoft does with, although Microsoft doesn't have a phone anymore,
Yeah.
but sort
No,
of.
but it's coming. Did you
Yeah, but
see
they
the
will
leak
soon, though.
today? The
I
Microsoft.
saw there was a leak. I didn't get to read it.
Oh, I read
This
about
thing is
that.
not going to have NFC. That's so disappointing.
Not going to have NFC.
Yeah, that's what the ones that they're giving out, or the test units, don't have NFC. So it looks like they might not have it. But they're saying that they might push up the launch to earlier than, you know.
Because last week they were reporting it was going to be later than because of coronavirus, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Everything's so
this-
messed up right now.
This article said that they might push it up.
Okay.
I don't know. I like that phone. That foldable looked nice. That was the only.
Everybody
folder I
loves
like.
foldable. You know, whatever any of us have to do to go get that phone, you can bet we're all going to go get that phone.
But if they don't update it, then you know.
I just can't believe no NFC though. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's.
And they could change. You know,
I mean, yeah, you could add NFC easily.
Who was asking about pricing on the Mark II?
I was. How much?
There was no. That's just it. I'm at the Sony's website right now, and there's nothing. It says notify me.
They never mention the price.
Then it says notify me.
so
who knows
that's not
when that's gonna
officially
come out.
released yet. At least
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, $1,200 Vizikos. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah,
There's the first Xperia 1 is the only one that's available for $949.99.
And
And then there's a 5.
Going to cost more than that.
Yeah.
yeah. No, thank you. I can't.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm with
Hey, you
you.
can get it at Best Buy with activation for $899.99.
There you go. Nice and cheap.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh yeah, now I got the money for it.
Yeah. So both the phones I'm planning to get, I could get for that. You know.
Oh well. You got anything else, guys?
So, my son,
one
my
last
son,
one.
my son said, he said, posted something about diehard I near dead in the water yet. Nintendo kind of did that with the Switch.
Okay, can you translate that for us?
I have no idea what he's talking about.
I think he's talking about the Sony thing, Mike.
Okay. Yeah, about the gaming and all. Because he's big into gaming and all.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you're saying the incorporation.
Right.
I miss my Switch. I wish that I still had it so I could try that Animal Crossing game that everyone's talking about, just to see if it's really a thing or not. Do you guys even know what I'm talking about with Animal Crossing?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah.
Apparently,
everybody's crazy about it, but I never played.
Yeah, apparently it's a game to play when you're locked in quarantine. But anyway.
Was it going to be like Frogger or something?
No, not like Frogger.
Oh, okay. We said crossing. That's what made me think of that.
Google wants to pay him. Yo, I like that. Juan says Google wants to pay Jerome $3.78. Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right.
this
So we
now?
have one final story. Trump extends U.S. telecom supply chain order aimed at Huawei ZTE. Who's got it?
You go ahead and read it.
Me?
All right, Will.
That delay, Ted. We gotta get you.
All right. I'll read it. Hold on. Let me see. Where am I at here?
Thank you, Mike.
Hold on 1 second. Okay. Trump extends U.S. telecom supply chain order aimed at Huawei and ZTE. President Donald Trump on Wednesday extended it for another year on an executive order signed in May 2019 declaring a national emergency and barring U.S. companies from using telecom equipment made by firms posing a national security. The order invoked the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, which gives the president the authority to regulate commerce in response to a national emergency that threatens the United States. U.S. lawmakers said Trump's 2019 order was aimed squarely at Chinese companies like Huawei Technologies and ZTE Corp. The U.S. Commerce Department is also expected to extend again a license set to expire on Friday, allowing U.S. companies to keep doing business with Huawei, a person briefed on the matter. The department has issued a series of extensions for the temporary license and previously extended it until April 1st. Huawei, the second largest maker of smartphones, is a major telecom equipment company that provides 5G network technology. In March, the Commerce Department sought public comments on whether it should issue further extensions and asked what was the impact on your company or organizations if the temporary general license is not extended. The Commerce Department also asked about the cost associated with extending the license.
No, with ending the licenses.
Ending the license. Thank you.
Right.
Wireless Trade Association CTIA urged the department to approve a long-term license extension, writing that now is not the time to hamper global operators' ability to maintain the health of the networks. The group argues that ongoing limited engagement with Huawei to protect the security of the equipment and devices in the market benefits American consumers by reducing the risk that they will be subject to device compromise. It also asks Commerce to reinstate and modify its prior authorization for standards development work to allow for exchanges with Huawei in furtherance.
Furtherance.
Okay, of global telecommunication standards. The Commerce Department and Huawei declined to comment. Since adding Huawei to the economic blacklist in May of 2019, citing national security concerns, the department has allowed to purchase some of U.S.-made goods in a move aimed to minimize disruption for customers, many which operate wireless networks in the rural America. In November, the Federal Communications Commission designated Huawei and ZTE as a national security risk, effectively barring their rural customers in the United States from tapping an $8.5 billion government fund to purchase equipment. Steve Barr, who heads the Competitive Carriers Association, told a congressional hearing in March that rural carriers were essentially attempting to rebuild the airplane in mid-flight by having you remove and replace equipment.
And that makes perfect sense because most of the rural telecommunications equipment in this country right now was made by Huawei. Because I think they're still the largest telecommunication equipment manufacturer in the world. So it's very strange. But then they extended that little thing that allowed them to purchase some U.S. goods. So it's like, okay, they put the ban back in place, but they put the extension that they could buy some. So it's a very strange mix of stuff.
It's very strange, yes. And you got to ask yourself, though, too, I understand it's for the rural, sections.
Yeah.
But it still makes me scratch my head, and I wonder about these other bigger companies. Are they actually buying the equipment from Huawei to get their 5G up and running?
Well, they're not allowed to right now.
Yeah, they can't. Not if they're US companies.
They're not allowed to buy it from Huawei right now or ZTE.
US companies can buy from.
But those are two of the biggest telecommunications equipment manufacturers on earth. So, and Huawei is still,
I always said, who are they turning to? Who's making the stuff?
I've seen some.
How did Verizon get their 5G? How did T-Mobile and Sprint and AT&T? How all they get?
There are a couple of
putting money in other people's pockets.
Yeah, but there are a couple of
backdoor
American companies
deals.
that are doing it. But Huawei,
Of course,
they tried to stop them from doing it in Europe, but most of the European companies are still sticking with letting Huawei build their 5G equipment. So,
That is true.
Yeah.
I know EE, I forget what the EE stands for, but they're still doing business with Huawei. Like they gave up after all, they
and
didn't.
is one of the largest companies.
and Juan
in
saying
Europe.
Sprint went with Nokia.
Okay, with Nokia. Okay. Thanks, Juan.
And I've heard that before. I've heard that Nokia is the only other company that I know
Still
of.
not an American company, but not a company that's a threat to the United States, according to our
States,
politicians. So, and I know I still don't get the deal, but all the
I
one
don't get
thing
it either.
all to agree is they hate Huawei.
Yeah. I saw Gary Brown's comment about instead of getting coronavirus vaccine, he worries about Huawei and ZTE.
Yeah.
Vote, people, vote. Yeah. Bye.
All right, so we're at the end of our stories, right?
Yeah.
All right, two things I want to let people know. One, the reason I almost didn't come on the show because I had a death in the family and it hit pretty hard. That's number one. Number two, the reason you see all those records going around behind me is that's all songs that I played or sung in bands over the years. So I kind of expressing myself with all that stuff.
That's nice, George.
But next week I will handle the stream, and Mike and Will, you guys won't be in next week, right?
No, we're taking a high
that's
just a day off.
All right, so I'll be leaning heavily on Jerome and Ted next week.
Well, as long as I'm not refeeding on that Friday, but if I'm not, then I'll definitely be on.
Okay,
Come
well,
on, Jerome, just gorge out right on the stream. You know what I mean?
Well, and then
You got
I
your
can at least
pizza
get
in
that
one
out.
hand and a burrito, or
I
you should be able to
Jerome,
catch
myself.
Come on, man.
I feel myself anyway. It'll kill two birds with one stone.
There we go. You talk
I
about
am
what
not
you're eating.
eating. I'm not eating 7,000 calories in front of a stream while I'm talking crap.
Imitation
Look,
imitation
playing
crab
in
meat.
napkins.
Hey, don't talk shit about my food.
Yeah,
Jerome
you'll
be
be
killing
playing
it.
that.
I don't know how you eat
Have a
that.
mask.
I eat it once in a while.
Eat under the mask. Yeah.
I'll
Eat
get under
under
the
the
mask. Yeah.
That's not enjoyable.
Yeah, that's going to be a nice, neat
And just,
show.
just mute your mic when you're chewing. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you got the control.
George,
right here.
Jerome, you know what? You
Look,
should
wait,
do
wait,
that though. You probably would get a lot of views if you just sat down and ate. And
Hey, you right.
Yeah, they call that a mukbang, right?
Yeah.
Another.
That's no, but I do.
what's it called?
A mukbang.
Yeah.
A monk, yeah.
That's pretty much what I'm doing on my other channel now. Is I'm just eating, 6,000 calories on. Well, not the whole. I don't film myself doing the whole thing, but people.
I'm
I
about to
think,
look for
I
one
think
right
Jerome,
now.
you're proving that with your fasting, you're kind of being an inspiration to people on how to do it right and how to make it work and still feel good. So
I'm getting a lot of hate though, and it's
Oh, really?
it's starting to come now because I think now the subs on that channel are starting to grow, and so like I'm getting a lot of DMs, and they're like, "You're gonna kill people with what you're," and I'm like, "I'm not telling you to do it."
No, but you're at least showing them how to do it the right way, the healthy way.
Well, that's you should see some of these other like DMs that these people are, but whatever. I have been getting it for a while on YouTube anyway, so
Jerome,
you're never
you
gonna
need to do one of those things. These people, I guess this is China. This lady got 18 million views. Looks like she's eating chicken and ribs.
Well, that's why I thought about maybe I should film myself
crazy.
eating the entire 6,000 or 7,000 calories and just do it on Twitch and talk about it at the same time.
ASMR mukbang. That is
I
crazy.
think people will probably be better off following you than following me because, I don't know many people who are going to do 7 days a week of exercise the way I do. So you're probably better off following you.
Make some ramen on OnlyFans.
Oh man,
There you go.
I'd eat some ramen right now. Not gonna lie. Oh,
So
God.
where are you at, Jerome? What part of are you in the middle of your 90?
No. So actually, just FYI, I am not in my 90 right now. I am. Hold on, I'll show you right now.
So you've done 9, right, in a row?
Can you see that right now?
93.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I'm doing 115 hours. I'm not eating until tomorrow. So I'm extending it another day.
What number is this in a row?
What's that?
What number is this?
I
in a
think
row?
you
It's
ate
gonna
like
be, it's
6
gonna be
times this
11,
month.
11 in a row.
This is your 11th 90-hour fast.
Well, yeah, tomorrow will be 115 hours.
When's your end game?
Okay.
What's my end game? Until I'm 10% body fat. That's my real end game.
And where are you now?
So my goal is to hit 130 pounds, but I'm 140. What am I? 145 ish right now.
Where's your body fat right now?
I don't know what my body fat's at. All I know is I got fat, and so like until that goes away, then I'll keep going. But yeah, I started at 220, so I'm down almost 75 pounds at this point.
Did you look better than
I
that?
exercise. I still have fat, so don't feel bad.
I just want to lean out. I just want to like show people that like, hey, like it's possible, and you could still eat like half a pie and a Wendy's, bacon cheeseburger, and you could still do it. We'll see. Anyway,
All right,
In
so we're
April,
done,
what did
right?
you eat? Like 5 times?
what's that?
In April, you ate like 5 times.
I ate 8 times in April. So yeah. So for the month of April, out of the 30 days in April, I ate 8 of those days.
So wait, and then you ate all the food in like 3 hours.
4
right?
hours. 4 hours.
So you ate for 32 hours of the month.
Yeah.
That's it.
32
Wow.
hours for the month of April.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Gosh.
Anyway.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Everybody go to Finally Fasting.
No, they
Oh, yeah.
didn't.
Check out
Yeah.
your own.
Check out your own on Finally Fasting. Is that right?
And
How come I can't talk about my tech channel though? No, just-
You're allowed. You're allowed.
no,
What's that? Nobody cares
no,
about
we're gonna
phones.
ban you from that.
nobody cares about my tech channel.
That's
That's
that.
the one that I started all 5 years ago. But let's not talk about
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah,
No,
right.
thank you guys. Thank you guys for even bringing it up.
Forget all the work, right?
I'm already overworked.
And
All right, so next week we will be on Mobile Geezer channel.
yep.
And everybody, wait a minute. Everybody
Yeah, he's
subscribe
trying
there.
to
No,
give you
no,
advice,
wait a minute. Subscribe to Ted's channel too.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Feel
There
free
we
to
go.
Yeah.
Ted is the newbie here among the YouTubers, so he needs all the subscribers. So let's.
Yeah, but Ted did good. We survived today. Ted's got
Yeah.
it now. He's got it down now.
Rocky. There's Rocky.
No, it was good, Ted.
You got it though.
Yeah, at least you got, and we were here for you. So
And we all had
you got it.
we've all had rocky broadcasts, so don't feel bad.
Especially when we started with StreamYard.
and it's not going to be the last either. Everyone, I mean, it's just a matter of time before I do something like royally bad, and then I end up getting like
Well,
close.
I thought you were going to like throw your mouse across the room on today's stream.
Oh my god!
I thought you were going.
was so mad today.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I said the F word, but
Yeah,
I
I know
said
you were
it
really
a lot.
upset.
I was so mad. I fixed the mouse. The laser was just dirty. I was so stupid because I was so mad. I didn't even think about cleaning the laser on my mouse. Whatever.
Yeah,
Those
you
have
were
to be
upset.
clean? Wow, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
What?
Clean
Yeah,
up.
clean your mouth.
Take a Q-tip, put isopropyl alcohol in it, and just kind of like don't put it exactly on the laser, but just kind of like swab it out. Just FYI, if you need to clean your mouse.
All right. Well,
Gary-
thank you.
Gary-
guys
Gary's
for
making fun of me.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, Gary.
Okra.
Thank you, Six Louis. Thank you, Juan. Thank you, Bazikos and Michael Jr.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
You got Juan Bagnell on your stream. That's what's up, man.
Yeah. He granted my maiden live stream wish. It was
Yes,
my
yes.
maiden wish.
At first, I thought it was a troll. Sometimes we get Juan Bagnell trolls on our.
Yeah,
Is that what the name goes up
yeah.
for?
Where we get some other guys in here who really whacked it. You know, yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks,
Most
Juan,
will
for
be
stopping
there.
by. Thank you, Michael Jr.
7 days a week. All right, guys. Thanks, Juan.
right.
See you.
Peace.
Good night, all.
Later, guys.
End broadcast. End the broadcast.
Not yet.
You gotta wait for it.
You gotta hit that button. The button where it